think you should.
Welcome back to this week's episode of Whoscussion. We're going to be doing, for part B, The Power of Thoris, and finishing it up with the second half of the Jago and Lightfoot for Revival. So The Power of Thoris, I feel like a bit of a jerk because I'm doing the shorter stories for both parts. But hey, I think Harriet Skelly's opinions are a bit more fleshed out than mine. The Power of Thoris is very much a short trip. I can see here that it was a one-page spread for Doctor Who magazine. So what do they call it? A full-page spread when it covers 2 pages. So the Doctor is relaxing in Egypt before the kingdoms joined. So they're still Upper and Lower Egypt at this time. And the Doctor's talking about how awesome Egypt is going to be in the future, and kind of how awesome Egypt is currently. The Doctor is with a gentleman, I can't remember his name, Edific.
Edifice. He's with Edifice, isn't he?
Edifice, yes. Edifice. Oh my god, that's so great. Edifice, house. So the Doctor's with Edifice, and he's just chilling, they're having a good time, and the Doctor's just talking about how, like, you know, how advanced Egypt is in terms of social and economic growth and philosophical growth, and the amount of infrastructure that would, and industry that would be created from Egypt, especially when it became unified. So they're having a good old time, and then a big giant hippopotamus comes out of the Nile.
Yep. She is an Osirian.
Yeah, she's an Osirian, so she's she's definitely in the right place. And the Doctor just lolls when he sees her, and Edifice is like bowing down and freaking out. And the Doctor's like, "Lol, I've beaten the crap out of these guys before.
I've beaten their most evil person.
Yeah, I've beaten their version of Satan, so I'm all good." Man, I love Sutek. I would love for Christian Chibnall to do Sutek. Oh my god.
Oh man, that would be beautiful.
Yes, just a dark Sutek. And since Jeffrey Wolf is still alive, we can get him to come back. But anyway, so the Doctor is trying to get Edifice on his side. Like, hey, bro, I know you think that she's a literal god, because she technically is, but she's also just a high-functioning alien.
Yep.
Which I know my people are too, and we're kind of technically gods as well. But she just, she's not. And Edifice takes a while to come around to seeing his point of view. The Doctor goes to overpower Thoris, ends up defeating her, and
she gets eaten by crocodiles.
She does get eaten by crocodiles, which was pretty great. But the Doctor, the last thing the Doctor says is she was in denial.
Yes he does.
And I was like, that is so something I would say. And like, Harriet Skelly's heard my bad puns on live stream and in person. He knows.
I know.
He knows.
But it's also something that it's absolutely something that the 8th Doctor would say as well.
Yeah, like in Memory Lane, I can't remember what he said, but he said something that was just like so that bad. Mm-hmm. And it's great because Tigger, the Tigger version of the Doctor from what the hell was that episode called? Calodria? You remember when the Doctor got split into 3 and one of them was really happy to see a cow?
Yeah.
A divergent universe cow. But yeah, so it reminds me of something that the Tigger Doctor would say as well. It was just, it was so weird. This story is very short. It has the Doctor just lolling in the face of Osirians, which is funny because like the 4th Doctor was like, whoa, Osirians, they're crazy high-functioning alien deities. And then the 8th Doctor's like, man, I beat your version of Satan. So come at me, bro.
And at this point, he's been in the Divergent universe.
Yeah, exactly. So he's like, I've seen all the crazy things. And my best friend left me in Singapore. Oh, Doctor, she did a bit more than that.
She did.
She did. So the Doctor just lolls and just carries on with his day. It's very, very short. There's not a heck of a lot to say. I think that's why it was included in this box set as opposed to released as a standalone comic, because there's not really much for it to stand alone as. I mean, well, it'd just be printed as 2 pages with some ads to fill in the gap. So get the novel as a collection is called The Flood, this graphic novel collection. So pick that up. I mean, this is just sort of it happened story. It kind of reminds me of that story in the last graphic novel we did with the Master. The artwork's the same as well, when the Master goes to the land of fiction and starts to control it. I hope that's expanded, because I would love to see the Master as the ruler of the domain of the gods of Ragnarok. That's such an interesting idea, especially since we've already seen the Doctor, the 8th Doctor, fight the Master when he was given god powers, because they both had god powers. But it turned out in the end that the battle was actually between Croton and a medieval Japanese samurai. Yes. So yeah, I mean, like, pick this up. You can get the creepy looking 8th Doctor comic as well. I need an adult from last week. The week before rather. And it's just nothing of note happens here. Have you got any thoughts on this story?
Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really self-contained. I like the art style of it. It felt like they were going for like that medieval esque look as well.
Oh, right, yeah.
Just with color and more, comic-y.
Yeah, and missing giant snails.
Yeah, so they took that they took that aspect of it, and actually ran with it as well. I mean, of course, they had to make it more comic-y, but that's just how it goes. But it felt good to look at it. So, otherwise, yeah, it's so short, so self-contained. It's shorter than a short trip, really.
Yeah.
As if you just did a quick read over exactly what happened, then it wouldn't even amount to 15 minutes. So it's.
I think it wouldn't even amount to 5.
No, probably not at all. So
the only thing of note is that 8th Doctor's supposed to be wearing the 5th Doctor's hat.
Right on.
That's it.
So yeah, that's about it, really. Good stuff.
I really like that Edifice asks if Gallifrey is near ancient Syria. That's really great. I love that. Is Gallifrey near Assyria? And the Doctor's like, yeah, sure.
Cosmically, yeah.
Yeah. Well, with that out of the way, guys, we're going to jump into the Jago and Lightfoot revival part 2, and then we'll go over the event as a whole right at the end. Harry's going to take us away. All
right, so basically this continues off where we were last time, which is now 2 weeks ago, where Jago and Lightfoot are in a bit of a pickle, and both have met their doctor, which is 10 and 11. So it continues on like this. They do some running like they always do for 10 and 11. And
yeah.
Yes, and then eventually gets described as to what's actually going on in very flowery language, of course, thanks to Jago and Lightfoot being the narrators to this. That these two things that have happened to them are not they're not separated events. They're related, and it's that. That at one point in his life, it was Jago who did it?
Jago, Henry Jago.
He had called upon the devil to give him good luck in a card game, and the luck gods had actually agreed to this and given him luck, but unfortunately, unknown to him, the cosmic fifth dimensional luck gods are actually require luck in return as well. So basically, when when you get this luck from them, they'll come later on and it basically extract those lucky events you had from you, and suck the life out of you basically with doing this. So they send when they can't get to you, of course, they'll come for those close to you, and that's why Lightfoot also got involved in this. So
I love how they've handled this though, because it sounds like how New Who gets around the cosmic entities, like the Carrionites and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It is very 10-11, and that's why I like it. It fits perfectly with them, but not at the same time. It's very classic Who, and with the Jago and Lightfoot flowery language makes it that much more like Big Finish and their general stuff. But the way that the events are unfolding is very 10 and 11. It's fantastic. So eventually it gets fully explained that the spider creature and these ghostly gunmen are from that. Whilst running away, 10 lets on to Lightfoot that the only reason that he's actually shown up was because he was dying and he wanted to go back and see everybody, which kind of means that there is a gap there with the end of
literally the end of time.
The end of time, where we don't see 10 go back and see everybody as much as he wanted to. So I'm guessing that 10 actually went back and saw every single companion he's ever had.
Yeah.
And then finally went to see Rose and then died.
Yeah, that's in the Sarah Jane Smith adventures, he actually says that the 11th Doctor says that he went back and saw everybody.
Yeah. So there you go. Good stuff. It's good to know.
Thanks, Big Finish.
Yeah. It's much better than just casually going back and seeing only the people he never met. But at the same time, because he was only regenerating, it kind of makes more sense, really. But, at the same time, whatever. That's the 10th Doctor, really, in a nutshell. He took that so hard when he was not even dying. Really, come on. Anyway.
I'm so sad about a thing that biologically happens to me.
I've had hundreds of years in this body. It's not a big deal, for real. Anyway, so he explains that that's why he's there, and then is basically sort of carking it in the midst of the story. Lightfoot's like, well, crap. How are we going to deal with this? And I was like, I'll be fine. I'll just regenerate. It's all good. And then Lightfoot gets captured in the 10's attempt to get rid of these aliens. It doesn't quite work, and Lightfoot gets taken by this, which is why 11 is around, because later on, once he's regenerated properly, he comes back, meets up with Jago, helps him with this. Jago also gets captured because 11. This is just what 11 does, really, just lets people get taken away. It's kind of a thing. But then he manages to get to where they have been stored during this time, and explains what the deal is. Basically, they need to fictionally add in some chronicles of fortune in there, so that these aliens get overburdened by this and die. And at the same time, 11 does some of his 11 stuff and sorts them all out.
Like how Lightfoot's and then a guy walked in wearing a fez.
Yeah.
And I thought, because of the absurdity of it all, it could only be another version of the Doctor.
It's so perfect. It is perfect. So yeah, that's basically it. At the end, though, they're back at the finally back where they were before when the story started. What's it called now? It's the science gentleman thing.
Yeah, they were the ones that Queen Victoria got heavily involved in. The Curious Scientific Men.
Yes. So they're back with them, talking to them, and it turns out their assistant has snuck in.
I love how all the men are like, dear God, a woman's in here. Like,
Yeah, it's so great.
The 19th century, you bigoted assholes.
Yeah. So, the most interesting part of that for me, because I haven't done any Jago and Lightfoot stuff before, so it wasn't this assistant they had sort of set me off guard as well. But the fact that she calls Jago Mr. J as well, I'm just like, yes, that is all that I needed. She explains that she was met by this crazed gentleman, who we can only assume is the 11th Doctor, and that he wants to go and have a drink with them once they're done, and they do, and yeah, happy ending.
Yeah, so as we know, this is unfortunately going to be Trevor Baxter's last time in the role, and it was a really nice adventure. It's their first short trip. I love that they Jago and Lightfoot were bouncing off each other for the short trip. It was great. The dialogue between each other, their impersonations of the 11th and 10th Doctors was spot on. Like the Trevor Baxter, like his 10. Oh yeah, of course. Like. Oh yeah, of course. And I was like, holy crap, like you guys are nailing it in your late 80s trying to be these like young 30-somethings. Like
yeah, they're perfect. They do this so well, and I'm actually really glad that if this is to be the last of his stories that it is, because it also sets up the reason why they've had their adventures at all. Is because Jago had requested this luck, so that's just why it happened from that point on. Is the Doctor got involved as well, so it's just that's their stories all summed up. And
yeah, they were destined to meet Tom Baker.
Yeah, and their destiny has finally run out now.
Yeah,
that is them.
Yeah, that's so bittersweet, because this was like the wrap up party.
Exactly.
Wow, big finish, man. Like I know it's coincidental, but like for a final story, that's a hell of a home run.
It really is.
Just like, especially when I forget the gentleman's name. Where is it? Christopher Benjamin, his 11th Doctor as well. Squeaky bum time. And I was like, that was really weird hearing him say it like that. And I was like, that was really strange, because like, you know, he's an altered gentleman. He's reading that. He's like, Nick, am I really going to be saying squeaky bum time? Yep, but say it like Matt Smith. Oh, okay.
Have you watched the new episodes? No, I haven't. Well, this is going to make lots of sense if you watch it. Squeaky bum time.
Squeaky. They would have got him to sit down, because like his delivery was great. I was like, that is Matt Smith saying that. Like, squeaky bum time. And apparently Matt's gonna be doing a box set, what I've heard. So I'm like, yes, because I pre-ordered the 10th Doctor box set, which is funny because he's my least favorite Doctor, but I pre-ordered the crap out of that, and his box set was incredible.
Because that's the thing, David Tennant is a fantastic actor.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a fantastic
And then
Doctor.
he got Big Finish scripts, and I was like, oh my god! Seriously, he got Big Finish scripts, dude. You've got to listen to it. It's really good.
So that sounds
and Don is his companion for the first box set.
Oh yes, all right, we're gonna get this.
It's fantastic. I know that's the wrong Doctor, but it is.
Yeah.
What was 10? Brilliant. It's brilliant. So
Geronimo? No,
no, that's 11. Yeah, 10 was brilliant, molto bene. And I'm so sorry. So sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So sorry. Yeah, that's him.
I better just say that every second episode, just so guys realize that's my catchphrase. But this story, guys, I mean, you've got to pick it up. Pick up both parts. I'm pretty certain they do it as a bundle. You can get the entire short trips range for like $50 New Zealand. So that's significantly cheaper everywhere else. Well, everywhere else that has a stronger economy than us, so most of the developed world. So I definitely suggest picking up the short trips. These two are gems, absolute gems. They're available as part of the 7th season of short trips, and just wow, just absolutely wow. With this being Trevor Baxter's last story, just what a hell of a way to go out, man.
Absolutely.
Uh, the fact they were saying New Who dialogue for some reason was just so, like, it brought a sparkle to my eye hearing these guys saying New Who stuff, and I was just like, that's awesome. Thank you, Big Finish. And Nick Briggs was just like, you're welcome. And I was like, you can turn it down, Briggs, because you're scaring me. I don't want to get exterminated by a classic Jarlath, because it would just do it. So yeah, you guys can pick this up. I'm looking forward to us finally going over the Jago and Lightfoot audios at some point, but we'll probably be doing our Star Trek stuff by then. Which, just spoiler alert for 2 years from now, we're going to be doing Trek. As I've talked to Harriet Skelly about it, and I feel if he's gone ahead and watched my favourite science fiction show of all time, I'm going to go ahead and have a look at his. So, with that, we'll catch you guys next week. Again, please pick up Jago and Lightfoot.
Yes, absolutely.
Alrighty, catch you guys next week.